Um, Apologies. This wonderful YouTube live stream app, which is in reverse, as you can see, can't fix it, decided to start a new live stream rather than tag on the old one. Honestly, stress levels. Anyway, bear with me. We'll go on to that one now. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. Did you a nice thumbnail and everything? What the hell? Right, we have got a few in the workshop. So, for those that haven't joined a live stream before, this gives you the opportunity as the viewer to, ask questions, interact. You also get to find out what we've just done in the workshop, what's coming up next in the next few weeks. Planned, doesn't always happen, because my schedule at work tends to sort of fluctuate quite a bit, and I can be in any part of New Zealand at any time. So it takes me away from the workshop, unfortunately. Right, just bear with me. We have got JJ, morning, Andy and crew. Good morning, JJ. Welcome back, matey. Simon Raw, morning, Andy and crew. Good morning, Simon. I gave Mrs. Mechanic the other day, we were clearing out the office. In fact, we rearranged the office. This is the workstations, and we staggered them so our chairs weren't banging into each other. Honestly, revelation, so much more room in there now, a lot happier. But I gave her the shirt. I came across my last new shirt. Mrs. Mechanic has it, and it's going in your parcel. The Jake Governor, good evening, Andy and family. How is everything doing? Okay, little story, actually. I know you like the stories. I had to go up to Auckland on Friday. Thursday was a bank holiday, really nice. I was welding all day. Made some very cool stands that go into the receiver hitch on the ROVs that I work on, with two legs. So it slots in, two legs, and then it has a trailer coupling on there as well, which means now that I can basically take the two rear wheels off. I can be working on the vehicle, and I can use Trevor the tractor with the tow ball attachment on the forks to lift the back of the ROV up and drag it around just with the front wheels on. So perfect for post underseal application, which is why I got on and did them. I've now decided this morning, looking at the one that's outside waiting to be done today, so I've got a joyous fun of undersealing that one, would be to make a rotisserie for these vehicles. I do so many of them every year, and they're not going to go away. They're going to keep coming back. So I think making a basic rotisserie so I can just roll the vehicle over and spray the underside. Obviously, I can't turn it completely upside down because the engine's got oil in and stuff, but I can rotate it around a fair bit, which will make it a lot easier for applying the underseal. Yeah, a lot easier. Anyway, went up to Auckland to pick up two ROVs and a big underseal order because I've got two to do. And it hadn't arrived. No, because we had a bank holiday, a public holiday, call it here, on the Thursday, all the freight was delayed and it wasn't there to collect. So I'm going, oh, that's actually really good for me because it just means that I don't have to underseal potentially both of them this weekend. It's been red hot again. And I was just thinking, hey, we're all good. That I can cope with that. I can get some other stuff done. Nice. Mrs. Mechanic goes, I'm pretty sure we've got some more underseal. I had three cans that I knew of. And she says, oh, I think it's up on that shelf. There might be some forge stuff that was left over from previous. All right, I'll have a look. I'll have a look on Saturday morning. So I pulled all the bikes out as always because I had stuff to do. And I rummaged around on the shelf and I found either 6 or 7 cans of the forge underseal. And I'm like, oh, that gives me 10. And I also found an old can, pretty old can of 3M underseal. I've not used the 3M stuff for quite some time. And 3M underseal no longer provide 3M New Zealand no longer provide the underseal for free for the surf clubs. That arrangement, that sort of donation, it waned during COVID. We managed to get back on track afterwards. And then Peter, the sales rep for Auckland, retired. And that was it. No contact, regardless of emails and phone calls and texts and things, to his email address and his mobile phone number. Nothing came back. So they're out of the picture now, unfortunately. Fortunately. That wasn't a joke, it just happened. So now it has to be paid for. So I'm not tied to a brand. And that's why we went across to Forge, because Jared does me a great deal on those on that underseal. And it's basically the same stuff. Although we found that the Forge stuff dries a little bit quicker. Other than that, seems to be about the same. However, bear with me. We're getting there. When I ordered this underseal recently for these two machines, and we have done one a few weeks ago as well, unfortunately, Jared had run out. He'd sold out, and a lot of his stock comes from Germany, from Forge head office, from their warehouses. So it takes a little bit of time to get here if he does run out. So he says, look, I can't help you. You'll have to source a different brand just for these machines. Now, so I went to Wairau Paints, super helpful people. They're up in Auckland on the North Shore, Wairau Valley. And I said to Jess, Jess, can you get me some 3M? Because that's what I would go back to, because I know it works. And he says, well, I've rung 3M for you, and they haven't got any stock. They're out as well. And I'm like, oh, crap. Well, we've got this Flixure, or Flixer, I think it's called, Flixer underseal, which is a water-based underseal. And I was like, no, I used that years ago because it's a lot less fumey. And it didn't work. I mean, yes, it went on, but the sunshine, because where we spray it, the sun, it's not like where you would normally spray underseal just on the underside of a car. We spray it all over the vehicle, and the sunshine caused it to crack, which was no good at all. So I said, look, that's not going to work for us because this is exposed where it goes. And she says, oh no, it'll do that if the sunlight's on it for long periods of time. So I said, what else have you got? And she went, oh, we've got this MEPA stuff. Let me get you a can. Hang on. Here we go. So I don't know where this stuff's from. It could be Germany as well, actually. Looking down there, it looks like it's in German. Although you can't read that because it's all backwards, isn't it? So spirits wear auf Bitumen basis Schwarz. That was actually quite well pronounced, wasn't it? I did German for a year. And then it's in English, spraying quality underseal based on bitumen black. Okay, so there you go. That's the stuff. MEPA, obviously from Germany as well. It's not nice stuff to spray on, to be honest. It tells you need an underseal gun, that kind of thing. Now, basically the same stuff. However, and I've only sprayed one vehicle with this so far, and pretty damn fumey, to be honest. A lot more fumey than the Forge or the 3M. Those two are about the same from a smell perspective, whereas this MEPA stuff, it seems thicker. It's certainly, the poor old shotgun was having hard work applying it, and it really stunk. And the one that we sprayed a few weeks ago, Dave up in the workshop in Auckland at work was telling me, hey, it's actually still a bit tacky. How long does this stuff take to go off? And I said, well, I don't know, Dave, because it's new stuff. It's bitumen based. That's all I use. But, it's dry enough to work on. I mean, we worked on it on the vehicle to reassemble it before I went back to Auckland. But it's still, you can deform it. If you rub against it or put pressure on it, it will deform. Whereas the Forge, the 3M stuff, within a few days, it's a lot more solid, and you can't really damage it unless you give it a real hard knock. So the MEPA stuff, which was a little expensive, to be honest, and maybe that would be because that was the only one available. It's supply and demand, isn't it, end of the day? Yes, made in Germany. There you go, look. Read it backwards there, made in Germany. Yeah, it was quite, but it's a slightly different can as well. It's got a raised top to it, whereas the other two, the 3M and the Forge, are flat. The base is about the same, but that's irrelevant really. One thing I find when we're spraying this stuff, it doesn't matter which brand it is that we use, there's always a little bit left in the can, probably about maybe an inch depth to half an inch depth, just depending on the orientation when you're spraying. And when we have time, and I think we might have to do that today, we'll see. We usually cut the cans open. It's a real messy job. We cut the cans open, and where I have like a semicircular scraper that I made, so Mrs. Mechanic can scrape out all the excess, all the spare underseal, and we put it all in one can, and then use that to use it up. Because it's so expensive, you know, these things. These are about $30 a can plus GST from memory, which is, you know, when you're using probably 10, maybe 11 cans per vehicle to get a good coat, it gets pricey, you know, because then you've got the labour to pay for the application as well, all the prep work and the vehicle to strip and vehicle transport, you know, here and back again. It's not ideal. Right, where do we get to? So, Vijayans, in answer to your question, I'm okay. A bit tired and not looking forward to today's job at all. But I do wear a little mask, you know, one of those sort of 3M masks or a breathing mask thing. And goggles as well now. I've got some, I wear my workshop shades. Sometimes I wear those, actually, when I'm underneath. When I'm spraying underneath, but when I get rotisserie, I won't need to do that anymore. It'll make the job a lot nicer with a rotisserie, and I don't think it'll take that much effort to make one, to be fair. I need to do some drawings, have a think about it, but I'll do that because they're going to keep coming out at the end of the day, and it's only a bit of box section. I will have to buy some box though, because I used up my decent stuff on those two stands. I'm rambling on those two stands. Jim Haynes. So when you get 2 like button hits in one day, oh, thanks, Jim. Yes, that other live stream, honestly, I started it and I was like, that's not the thumbnail I set up. And I had a hunch and there was nobody waiting. And I'm like, this is the wrong one. But I spotted a little icon on the screen that had basically like a notification icon. Had like a little red dot next to it. I thought, I'll go in there and see what that is. And it was a list of pending live streams. Like, oh, that's the one that I want. I clicked on that and it started that one up. So, phew. Save the day again. Still haven't been able to sort out the mirror image thing. My apologies. I think it's just inherent to YouTube, to be honest. There's lots of videos about how to fix it, but none of them are actually about how to fix it. They're all about fixing it if you do filming and then fixing it when you're editing the video. Well, that's obvious. You can just flip it. It's not a problem. But when it's live stream, I don't have anything. There's no buttons to press. Really annoying. So thank you, Mr. Haynes. Really appreciate that. Connor K, morning, Andy and crew. Are you going to talk about that hitch-mounted rack you were fabricating? Yes. Made 2 of them. They're both on now, in use on our RVs. So the story, when I got to Auckland, I took the big trailer. We got it warranted, so it's back on the road legal because we need to get legal for some timber that we're picking up. So it's got rego, it's got warrant, she's good to go. It's done 600 odd kilometers since it was warranted, 700 kilometers since it was warranted, so it's fine. There's no problems at all with that. So I had a dilemma because I also had a surf club ROV at head office waiting to come down the line, as the New Zealanders call it, to the workshop because it had lots of problems. And all of these problems relate to the age of the vehicle. The vehicle's about 5 years old. It's way too old to be on the fleet for a surf club. It came in last year for a new tray and a top end rebuild because they'd cooked it, and some other work. I think we did all the brakes and we did a full service on it as well, so all the brakes and the CVT drive and all that kind of stuff. And I said, look, lads, this needs to go. We've put a new tray on it. Let's just flick it on now. Get yourself a new one. It's getting a bit crispy. And the little latch that's welded to the chassis on the driver's side, the loop that the latch on the door clips into, had gone. It had rusted away. So they couldn't have a driver's door. So it wasn't really as safe as it should be. Yesterday, so I put that on the trailer and one of the vehicles to underseal because I thought, well, there's no point in bringing both of them down. I can't work on them. Not really. I haven't got any underseal because I didn't realize I had any at the time. And I'll bring down the one that needs an appraisal, this old surf club machine. You know, it's still on the fleet as far as they're concerned. So I pulled all the panels off, had a really good look around. It's not good. It's not good at all. Both front shocks, the coil springs are about to pop off the retainers. The retainers are practically corroded away. The beach environment is horrifically harsh on no matter what vehicle you have. So it's not brand specific. It's just the way it is. And it was undersealed 5 years ago, you know. So I mean, it's done pretty damn well to last this long. Reason why it wouldn't start is the battery was junk. Basically, it's a 5-year-old battery. It was just junk. So putting you back. Well, I had a good second-hand battery here. Put that on it. Started straight up. No problems at all. Couldn't find any faults with it. So, and it's been started ever since. So quite happy with that. Wiring seems to be pretty good. Fan cuts in properly when it should do and things. But you've got a problem with the shocks. The front steering, the steering rack itself has corroded internally. Pinion bearings have collapsed. Very, very difficult to steer, and it's only minutes away from jumping teeth on the linear gear. Mrs. Mechanic was really struggling yesterday to steer the machine while I was moving her around the garden with it to get it parked up. Tray's Tray's good, but it was never undersealed because we didn't have any and they didn't want to pay for it. So that's getting quite rusty. The chassis in general is getting quite crispy in some very structural areas. So I'm going to have to report back and say, look, this vehicle isn't fit to go back on the fleet. The area around the receiver hitch, when I was taking the old receiver out and fitting my frame, was rust jacked. It was really, really tight in there. It took a lot of hammering to get that thing out, and probably half the metal has gone. So there's not a lot of strength there, and they do tow trailers. They tow their, I know they're not particularly heavy, but they tow their, what do they call them? They're inflatable boats around, and they've got some jet skis as well. So not ideal, you know, if that thing was to break off and the trailer go hurtling across the beach and mow somebody down, again, it would be a bad thing. So there you go. I kept busy yesterday. It was pretty hot yesterday. We got this one, we got the other one all stripped down and photos taken and the appraisal done. I've got to cost all that out yet. I doubt they're going to go ahead with fixing it because it's going to be probably $5,000 to fix. Probably not worth fixing, to be honest, because it'll be due a service again as well. That's a couple of grand, maybe $2.5 for the full service and the brakes and the CVT drive, that kind of thing. Steering rack's about $450, I think, from memory. You know, it soon adds up. And then you got all the labor content as well. You know, even though it's a discounted price for them, it's still a chunk of change. So I think that one is going to be a case of, look, just fix the steering. You've put a second-hand battery and it works. We'll just pay for the second-hand battery. Maybe try and fix the springs. I might have some good second-hand retainers kicking around that I can fit. Hopefully the coil springs haven't fractured. I don't think I've got any spare coil springs left for fronts. So I don't know on that one yet. It's down the garden. It'll be down there for a couple of weeks before I get back onto it anyway. If I need to order parts, there'll be a couple of weeks. And this one is all stripped and prepped and ready to go. And those frames, absolutely brilliant. Really, really good, actually. Very, very happy. I wish I'd made them years ago, in all honesty. But that started making me think about this rotisserie, because there's a good mount on the front, where you mount a winch. So I could mount the rotisserie at that end on there. And of course, I can use the receiver hitch mount at the other end and get the vehicle, you know, a good 4 or 5 feet off the ground. So I can just spin it around into so the underside is then vertical, and I can just spray it stood up. It'll be brilliant, and so much easier to get into all those little nooks and crannies as well. So it would make it more pleasurable, or less pleasurable doing the work, if that's such a thing, and probably a little bit quicker, although you've got the time to get it mounted on the rotisserie to think about. But not a problem, really. Not a problem. Oh, hang on. If you guys have been busy on the comments. Where we get to? Yes. So Connor, yes, absolute success. Yesterday morning, Mrs. Mechanic cleaned all the frames off, got all the welding splatter off, and painted them all up in some nice silver paint we had. The same paint we used for the brackets on the side port, actually. We had some spare, so we used that. Purple Monkey, 1974. Hello. Good morning, Purple Monkey, 1974. Welcome back to the workshop, mate. Simon, are the Germans the only people that make underseal? Maybe. I don't know. They all seem to come from that Flixure stuff. I don't think it's German. Although, to be honest, it must be 7 years, 8 years ago that I used that stuff, and I cannot remember. They make lots of different paints. It's a brand that, in fact, when I did Larry the Carrier's roof a few weeks ago, I think that was Flixure paint that they mixed up for me. And that stuff was okay. It did react a little bit with some of the bead sealing, the seam sealer that was up on the roof, which was really annoying. It took a couple of attempts to get that cleaned off. So maybe they are. I've not come across any underseal that's come from anywhere else, put it that way. Mr. Haynes, so the Surf Club came back to the blue brand with the Tuning Fork logo after straying to another brand for a couple of ROVs. I think it's early days, to be honest. I just don't know where I picked up this ROV, the one that I've done the appraisal on. I think that's their last one of that brand. They do have a Can-Am there. In actual fact, when I picked it up, there was a guy servicing the Can-Am, and he was chuntering about some wiring problems and stuff, which is pretty normal. That machine would be probably a year old now. And the last time I was at that surf club, it was out of action for a wiring fault. It wouldn't start. Kept flattening the battery, basically. I had a parasitic drain on it. So I don't know. I think it's just a club decision pushing for the Tuning Fork brand, as opposed to a regional decision. I think regionally they're still trying to roll out the Can-Ams. But I think some clubs are going, nope, not doing that anymore. I did go to Piha a few weeks ago and drop one off, and they've still got 3. In fact, that was the 4th one that I dropped off. They've now got 4 of the ROVs that I work on, but unfortunately, Andy's not servicing them anymore. No, there's a company in Auckland that services and maintains and refurbishes cherry pickers. I forget the name of the company, but they've sponsored the surf club. I think they've got some ties. Maybe somebody's on the board or something there, and they've said to the surf club, "Hey, look, as for our sponsorship, we will service and maintain and repair and pay for any parts that you need for your fleet of ROVs." So Andy's not servicing us anymore, which is a bit of a shame, but not the end of the world because I get to get on with other stuff now. I've done them for 7 or 8 years. I'm not too concerned about that contract waning and being terminated. I just hope, my main concern is that they're serviced correctly, because they are emergency vehicles. It isn't just a case of doing an oil change and an oily rag. It's full caliper rebuilds every time it goes through the workshops. It's CT drive rebuild every time. They've got to top up the underseal on the vehicles because it does break through. There's a salt water and start to corrode the chassis. So you've got to chip off the old underseal, clean up the steel, treat it, and then put the underseal back on. Things like shock absorbers, the coil springs can fracture. Are they going to replace those? Are they going to spot it? There's loads of stuff. I just don't know. Is it my problem anymore? It isn't my problem anymore. Do I worry about it? I'm trying not to worry about it because, I want the brand to be reflected in the best possible light. And, equally to that, if not more importantly, that the vehicles are in a good fit state for use should they get called out on an emergency. They've got to do the job. If they jump in and it won't start, like the Can-Am, not ideal. Sorry, mate, you have to swim to shore yourself. We can't get there to help you. So, it's not ideal. But, I was never going to service them forever anyway. So this is just a natural progression. There's still a couple of clubs that still use me for the servicing at the moment. But there's less of it because there's more Can-Ams and less of the brand that I look after on their fleets. So maybe it'll completely die a death. I don't know. But I've still got the undersealing side of it to sort out. And I think that's going to carry on for a while yet. Especially now there's this new flame of you know, these ROVs being ordered, which is great. Bum 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 bum. Purple Monkey. That CBR still with you? It is, and the reason why it's still here is I need to source a number plate light that will actually fit the tail tidy that's on there, and I've just not had time, and it's not urgent. And B, I'd like to do a series of videos on the warrant of fitness, the actual inspection that the bike goes through for a warrant of fitness. I did one years ago on a bike, but it was all in one video, and it was quite a long video. And I was thinking, well, maybe we should revisit it. Now we've got a road bike, it's a bit more applicable. And break it down into sections. So there's small, short, maybe 10-minute, 15-minute videos, and there's maybe 5, maybe 6 different sections, you know, covering lighting, brakes, tires and wheels, that kind of stuff. Bearing sets, bushes, all that kind of thing. So maybe if I get chance, but at the moment I haven't got chance, and the clock's ticking, it will need to go back in the next few weeks. So if it's not that bike, I can always pick another bike. It's not the end of the world. Simon, Purple Monkey, it may be a go-kart. It won't be a go-kart. The go-kart is still there on my bench. It's actually quite annoying having it on the bench because it's reduced the size of the bench quite considerably. But by having it on the bench, it also reminds me it's not finished yet, Andy, and you need to get it finished. So, but Jared keeps saying, hey, it's not urgent, don't worry about it. But I think he's just being nice. I think he'd like it back. It may be a go-kart engine. No way is that engine going anywhere near a go-kart. No chance. JJ from Google. What? What's Google? Oh, key points about reversed images. There we go, look. On YouTube camera settings. Most often, reverse images due to your camera settings on your device, not your YouTube issue. Incorrect. If I take a selfie, for me anyway, not incorrect. I'm sure that that's good information for some people. If I take a selfie on the phone, which I did when I did the thumbnail, it's the right way around. So it only affects the YouTube live streams. I think if I did a video on Instagram, for example, a short video on there, it would be the right way around. I'll have to try it, but I think it would be. The pie. What the hell? So we do have a pie. Mrs. Mechanic's been a bit naughty, and she's covered up what it is. I don't know what this pie is. I think, judging by the packaging, she's crossed out all sorts of stuff on here. Judging by the packaging across here, this looks like a Bake Shack pie. But I don't know what flavour it is. So let's get it put in the pie warmer now. And at least that's warming up, because this is my breakfast, don't forget. Okay, turn you around, 3, 2, 1, boom. Right, and we'll see what's around the workshop. Oh, here we go. Oh, left leg's gone to sleep. Bear with me. Might collapse on the floor of the workshop any second now. Okay, get the pie in there. It's a round pie, so I know it's not steak. Steak ones are square. I know that because I had one yesterday. Okay. So, yes, we've got all the underseal lined up, which means Andy has to do undersealing today. I have no choice. If we come down here, look at this. So I really can't remember if I've shown you this yet or not. I know I've filmed some stuff on it. But this is a Dico. There you go, Dico. Old little pillar drill. And Mrs. Mechanic has named it. I'm trying to think of what the name is. Priscilla, that's right. It's Priscilla the pillar drill. She's named it. This is Mrs. Mechanic's new pillar drill, by the way. It's got, which is really nice, proper aluminium pulleys up there. And they're looking pretty good nick as well. So does the belt, so we're happy with that. This was given to me by one of Ben's friend's dads, who's had a clear out of his workshop. He gave me that old trolley jack. Remember that red coloured trolley jack that I've still got to fix? He gave me that. It's in beautiful condition. I mean, look at this. There's no missing chunks around the hole. And there always is on second-hand pillar drills. There's always a drill bit hole here somewhere, you know, where somebody's just not bothered to line it up. So it did need cleaning up. This was a bit rusty, not horrendous, just surface rust. So I cleaned that up. I cleaned the base one up as well. And down here, it's got the original serial number. So it was made by HIB Engineering Co Limited, and they're in Penrose, Auckland, New Zealand. If they're still there, I don't know. Sorry about the non-period correct bolts. Its current location is sort of only temporary because it's right next to the mill, which is going to be a real pain in the ass. It stops the mill being used properly. But I needed to get it set up, and the chuck's great. Grips the drill bits really well. It's nice and easy to move around as well, and it's lovely and quiet. Look at that. So nice. It just doesn't rattle. It doesn't plunk. It didn't give me an electric shock, which is great. So very, very, very happy with it. It's a lovely, lovely old pillar drill. Now you may say, well, Andy, it's only got one handle. It has. This is come off a different pillar drill, which is actually Mrs. Mechanic's old one, which cost me $100, which is over in the corner over there, that she normally uses, because when Ben brought it down, it didn't have any handles in it. I want to try it out, you know? So luckily it was an M8 thread, M8 or M10, same thread as the other one anyway, so I just stole one of the handles just to give it a go. But they've now found the set of 3 handles that go on, the levers that go on. So Ben's going to bring those down next time he comes down. And it's still got the original motor on it. Look at that. Old school motor. That'll last forever, will that? None of these Chinese ones. So there you go. New addition to the workshop. Super happy. Ben also brought down a little saw of doom. So remember the Tanner saw of doom that we got? I bought this one. And he brought me another one down, the baby brother of this, which does need a bit of work, but it's outside, so you can't see it. But we now got 2 saws of dooms. I've no idea what we're going to use it for. No idea at all. But other than that, I've not put up Miss February yet. I'll do that later on. No idea what she looks like. And that really is about it, to be honest. There's no... Oh, what else did I do? Did I put those bottles? Yes. There, look. There you go, Simon. Hawkstone Lager and Hawkstone Cider in the workshop. Pretty cool. Right. We will head back to the bench. In fact, we'll put this underseal away now. We don't need that anymore. But yeah, you can see the top of the can's totally different to the other ones. Don't know why. Must come in a different factory. Whereas you can see the Forge one is pretty much it is the same can, same tin as the 3M, but the Meeper one is it's convex, is the top of the can, whereas these are just flat basically, or slightly concave. So what do I prefer? I prefer the Forge one big time, because it dries a bit quicker and it's nowhere near as smelly as the Meeper, and it's not a bad price, and it goes on a lot easier than this stuff. This is a bit slow to apply. It took me a lot longer to apply, so I'm going to use these 3 cans for the underside of the ROV, and then probably, I don't know, the 3M and the Forge are very similar, so you won't be able to tell what's what on the vehicle, so the rest of it can just go wherever it goes. But we've got, what have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Got 10 cans. That'll be enough to do 1 machine. Yeah, we're all good. Right, back to the bench. Turn you around, 3, 2, 1, boom. There we go, 34 minutes in, and the pie has just gone in the warmer. What the hell, Andy? You're useless. Oh, where do we get to? So we won't check out what the pie is until after I've eaten the pie. Hopefully I'll guess it right. Who knows? We're down here. Oh, here we go, look. Yes, so, yeah, thanks, JJ. Appreciate that. But I can't fix it. How to access your video settings within the app or perform you're using to record or stream, and uncheck the mirror option. Access your video settings within the app or platform you're using to record or stream, and uncheck the mirror option. I couldn't find it. I've looked around the YouTube app for live stream, and there just isn't an option to mirror or unmirror. It just doesn't exist on my phone for some reason. Don't know why. This is particularly relevant when using the front camera, yes, as it typically mirrors the image. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? It's really weird. I don't know why it does it. And it hasn't. The point is, it's only recently changed, and I've done nothing to my phone, which is so. All I can think is it's some kind of an update at YouTube's end, and the updates automatically happen to my app, and blah blah blah. There you go. It now doesn't do what it's supposed to do. Simon, the beach is a harsh environment. We wait down the boat club until the wheel bearings on the beach trailers are about to collapse before changing them. It is. It's really rough. That, to be fair, actually, on the ROVs that I work on, things like wheel bearings and ball joints survive incredibly well. I very rarely ever have to change a wheel bearing on one of those things. I've got them in stock. I've probably got about 3 sets in stock, to be fair, but I've never had to replace them. Maybe one set years ago. But in ball joints, I've probably got half a dozen ball joints in stock. Never had to fit any unless they crash one, because it usually bends the ball joints, the pin. If it takes a hard hit. Jim, Astro Thor 0.498 shank air hammer with a round hammer bit fixes rust jacking. I guarantee it will. I had the vehicle down on the grass in front of the house. It was still on the trailer because it didn't go at the time. So what I did was eventually I knocked out the tow bar that was in the receiver, smashed the hell out of it with a big hammer, got my frame in, and then lifted the back end up with Trevor the tractor and pulled it off the trailer with Mrs. Mechanic driving, and then took it down the drive and under the carport. All in one go. It was brilliant. One of the neighbours was watching going, wow, that's cool. Yeah, it's all about, having stuff set up to make life a lot easier. And Trevor the tractor, month on month, is getting more and more useful with these adaptations, these extra pieces of kit that I can use in conjunction with Trevor. So cool. He's a top little tractor, is Trevor. And the good news is, I was looking at the finances of Trevor the tractor. I think by the end of this year, he's totally paid for. I know, that's Trevor the tractor and all the accessories. Pretty cool. That's like $70,000 right there. No wonder I've been skint for the last few years. Now then. Simon, look on Amazon for number plate lights. Yeah, I wanted to try and get one from a bike shop. I didn't want to order one in from God knows where. I've got to go up to Auckland next week on Wednesday morning with the little trailer. And on the little trailer is the motorcycle that I was going to ride to Invercargill. Most of you probably don't even realise, or haven't nobody's asked, actually. Last time we spoke, I was supposed to be riding down to Invercargill, right? Well, that didn't happen. No. There was no live stream from Picton. And there would have been a live stream this weekend from Invercargill. Today is the last day of the Burt Munro event for this year. I would have been there, enjoying and taking it all in. Lots of different events, beach racing, track racing, speedway, I think it is. Motorbikes and sidecars on the speedway as well, which is really cool. A friend of mine, Kevin, does that. He lives down there. And I think a couple of rides out into the countryside and the mountains and things. You've got to ride a fair way to get into the mountains, to be fair, but there's the Catlands and stuff, which is quite nice. But yeah, I'm not there. I'm here. And that happened because I was told my services are no longer required, which is fine. It's not a problem because I've got lots of other shit to get on with as well. But it would have been nice to have known before I brought the bike down. So I've got to take the bike back to Auckland on Wednesday before I fly out. And then the trailer will be at Auckland, and I'll bring the other ROV back home on the Friday with the underseal. So while I'm in Auckland, I've got to go and pick up the second hitch, the coupling to go on the second frame. The frame on the one outside hasn't got a hitch. It's just a stand at the moment. They only had one in stock, so they had to order me one in, and it hadn't arrived in time because of the bank holiday. So I'll pop into one of the bike shops and see what they've got as regards a number plate light. It's probably going to be an LED one. I hate LED lights. I'd rather fit a proper traditional number plate light, a bit like what the bike would have had when it was new. I'll just grab whatever I can because I want to get it done, and then I've got the option then to get it back to Auckland if they're desperate, because I think it's going to be, it's going to be sold, so they probably want to get it back and get it sold, get some money in. So who knows? Maybe I'll have to do the warrant thing on another bike. I could do my KTM actually. Doesn't run at the moment. I'll have to get it running. Where do we get to? Mike Bazanski. Hey up, Mike. How's it going, mate? Have those footwells you manufactured holding up in the field? They've done really well. Really, really well. The problem with the footwells has been fixed by the factory. It's no longer a current issue. There was about 450 pairs of footwells that went out. The supporting brackets that we made, the kits, went out over about like a 2-year period. It was a big part of what I was doing on weekends, to be honest. There was a lot of work, as you all know, getting those done. And yes, I mean, I designed them such that they would last a long time. They were definitely over-engineered, that's for sure. The paint was probably the Achilles heel, because most of them operate in an environment where there's lots of cow poo and wee and stuff, effluent all over the place. So it's highly corrosive environment. And I've seen photos of bikes that have come back in for servicing that have had them on maybe for a year, and a lot of that container paint that we applied had gone. They were quite rusty, to be honest, which isn't a problem because they'll still outlive the bike, which is all that matters. But it's a bit demoralizing when you spend all that time making them and then the paint lets you down. But I mean, what can you expect? I mean, would have been better to have got them galvanized, but the cost, there was no need. The cost would have been too high. And it would have affected the fitment a little bit as well because the galv's quite thick. And probably may not have been much better, in all honesty. I don't know. It's a very harsh environment. And as long as they do the job for the time they have to do the job, then why spend more money? That's the way people look at it. And they were expensive enough as it was, to be fair. There was a lot of steel went out. There were thousands of... I think in the end we machined up, did work on 5,500 individual components. It was if you added it all up and you had them all in this workshop at once, there'd be a lot of stuff in here and a lot of weight as well. So yes, thank you, Mike. They did the job. It was a really good outcome, to be fair. Simon, they do some very small number plate lights that can be hidden under the tail tidy. Yeah, I'm not worried about them being tight or being small. I just want it to fit. And being a warrant guy, I want it to properly illuminate the number plate and have no direct white light facing to the rear, which is a warrant fail. We're going out. Andy talks way too much. Machine NZ, Kevin, morning, Andy and crew. Good morning, matey. You may have seen the new addition to the workshop, the Dico pillar drill. Very, very nice. And again, Ben's going to get me the guy's name and stuff so I can give him a proper shout out. But for the gentleman that gave me it, donated it to the workshop because he wanted it to go to a good home, thank you very much. I mean, if you put it on Trade Me, he'd got a fair few $100s for that old girl. And I am extremely grateful that he donated to the workshop, and it will be well looked after. I can guarantee that. So thank you very much. Mrs. Mechanic is also very happy. Now then. So Kevin, I hope all is well in your world and you're enjoying yourself in your workshop. That's what workshops are for, right? Simon, Get some Westerns and Hawkstone cider tonight. Oh, got some. Oh, you got some more Hawkstone cider. It must be nice to be able to pop down to the shop and buy it. Fun and games. Where we get to Jim Haynes. Usually when fleets change brands, somebody who doesn't know thinks cheaper is better or kickback money paid. I don't want to comment on that. I have a very good working relationship with the surf clubs directly. I don't really deal with the head office at all, and the gentleman that came in, the fleet manager that came in, I'm not going to say his name. He does not like me at all. I've never met him, I don't think. He does not like the Andy Mechanic YouTube channel. He hates me, and who knows? That might be the reason why the swap brand, just because, you know. He shouldn't be bringing in personal feelings towards a charitable decision on their fleet. That's very unprofessional in anybody's book, but it's nothing I can do nothing about it. But from the club's perspective, I get on with them very well. And it may be that even the PHAR club, if they have a serious fault with one of their vehicles, maybe an engine failure or something that might affect warranty, because at the moment the vehicles are not being maintained by a qualified mechanic for that brand. I am. So therefore, it could affect the warranty on the machines. Not ideal. Not ideal for the club. But if they're getting the servicing for free, they're not paying for any parts, it could still be better for the club just to cover the warranty costs, should they end up in that particular situation. So who knows? Maybe the company that's sponsoring them will just cover it regardless. You know, they've got deep pockets. They're a massive company. Purple Monkey, mystery pie equals mystery meat. I don't know. Has it even got meat in it? Who knows? We'll find out soon. Mike Bazanski. In Croatia for 2 weeks, got a ship in the shipyard. Holy crap. Croatia. Wow. Never been there. Jim Haynes. Did you see the article I sent you about KTM in big money trouble and being in receivership? Yes, I did. Thank you, Jim. It's something which has been, talk within the industry here in New Zealand anyway. I think we probably found out a little bit before it even hit the press, to be fair. They've got rid of that Augusta brand now. I believe they've sold that off, which was one of the brands that was pulling them down. I'm sure KTM in some format will continue into the future. My only concern, and probably what's going to happen, is you can guarantee the Chinese will be breathing down their neck, waiting to buy it for peanuts, just to get the brand name and then produce the bikes out of China with the KTM logo on, call them KTMs, and they'll be nothing like the original KTMs. But they'll still keep selling them because a lot of people just don't realize. MG Cars from the UK did exactly the same thing, and now New Zealand is flooded with MG EVs. They're all over the place and they're cheap, and that's why people buy them. When I was over in Australia, a couple months ago, it would have been in Sydney, the hire car that one of the guys had was an MG, and we had an endless amounts of fun in that car with all the electronics not quite doing what they were supposed to do. We were getting really confused what the hell was going on. We had to turn things off, turn things on. It did some weird stuff, did that car. And it felt real cheap. You didn't want to have an accident in that one, that's for sure. It drove very carefully in it. Although it went well. Man, it went really well. Was it an EV? I think it was an EV. I'm sure it was an EV. Or it might have been a hybrid. It seemed to go pretty well, though. Too well for what it was. Oh, my word. Simon, last live stream I was at the pantomime. Oh yes I was. Oh no you weren't. Oh yes I was. Classic. Did you get the wagon wheels thrown out to you? That's the question. Because at the York Theatre, there was a guy there on stage at the end. He would always throw wagon wheels out to the crowd. And then it got banned for a while because he hit somebody on the head with one. And they banned it. Oh, health and safety, you can't be doing that. Anyway, I think it was his last night or something, and he went back to throwing wagon wheels. It was awesome. RYJ MTech. RYJ MTech. How did the Scotsman find the sheep in the tall grass? Oh, come on. Satisfying? Really? More the Welsh, isn't it? I shouldn't say that either, really, should I? But hey, we're only joking. It is just a joke. I didn't bring up the subject. Well done, mate. Jim Haynes, I know what you're saying about what the lifeguards have to go. They have to go. Or when they have to go, they have to go. When we push off the cars for a race, my four-wheeler is running until we are done with that event, as it has to go if needed. Yeah, just leave it idling. It's ready to rock. It's an emergency vehicle. It's got to act there and then. And there's the same with the surf club stuff. You know, it's just like an ambulance or a fire engine, but it's the only one at that location. So if it doesn't start, and they've only got one on the fleet, and there's plenty of surf clubs around with only one ROV on their fleet, it has to work. There's no option. It has to work. And this is why I think they should replace them every 2 years. They'd still have a year's warranty on them. They can flick them off for a decent amount of money. It's going to take them out of the corrosive environment, and they're probably going to last another 5 or 6 years for somebody. As it is, as we've seen, there's that one that's here now is probably around 5 years old. Realistically, it's just a pile of parts. The chassis is gone. You might get a year out of it, 18 months out of it, and then it's just going to be parts. Simple as that. Engine's mint. I did a top end rebuild on it maybe last year it was. The engine's done hardly any work. It's got 500 hours, 5,000 Ks on the clock, which is nothing. Most ROVs of that age on a farm, and if it's done well to last that long on a farm, to be fair, because they usually flick them on after 3 years. I've known there's a place down in Invercargill, a meatworks, and they have 2 of them, and they run them 24/7. So they have shift changes, and the vehicles just, the only time they get turned off is for servicing and for fuel. And those machines, one of them clipped 70,000 kilometers in 3 years. 70,000 kilometers. That's phenomenal, you know, and way beyond the design brief that vehicle's performed. Sure, it's had a few little problems here and there. What vehicles don't these days? But it's still going, and it was still viable to repair. A real tribute to the brand, to be honest. A fantastic piece of kit. And they'll buy more. They'll just keep buying that. They'll stick with that brand because they know it works and it does the job, and they have really good service backup by the dealer down there as well. So, you know, it's a win-win for everybody, to be honest. Roger, good morning, Andy and crew. Good morning, Mr. Heaps. Hope all is well in your world. And my sincere apologies that I didn't make it to the Burt. I think you all know why. Kevin, yes, busy in the shed. Just started a small inline 4 model engine, similar to an A series. Wow, top bloke. I've never really got into that kind of, you know, really accurate machining of building miniature model engines and stuff. I got the opportunity at school when I did my GCSE metalwork. The Basil, our teacher, who's unfortunately he's passed away a few years ago. He had all the plans for a model steam engine, and he would often get the students to just copy his plans and build their own steam engine. But it was something which I had something else I wanted to build. I wanted to build a power hacksaw, and I found the photos. Here we go. I found the photos of Mrs. Mechanic a few weeks ago, over Christmas it was. And because I had to leave the power hacksaw in England when I left, there was no room for it, unfortunately, which was very sad because it was something I made when I was 15, and it was still working. You know, it was functional, it was good, and it was accurate. I think at some point in the future, probably retirement, I would like to recreate that power hacksaw. I need to find a BSA Bantam 175 crankshaft, Simon. There won't be many in New Zealand, I know that. That's what I used to convert the rotary motion to the linear motion. I can pretty much reverse engineer it from what I can remember and from the photos. Again, all the technical drawings that I made for that as part of my project were in a folder in the loft when we left the UK. So they will have been destroyed by now, unfortunately. And there were lots of photos in that folder of the build as well, and how I changed things to make things better, the improvements that I made on the design. But yeah, I'd like to make it again, and it wouldn't be that hard to make, to be honest. You know, if I can make it when I was 15, I can make it now, right? I remember using, there was on the top where the two slider rails are, underneath the pivot because obviously I planned for everything to wear a little bit through use. I put some clutch springs underneath to hold the pivot up so that it wouldn't chatter. Pretty simple solution. I've just got to try. I think there would have been Honda C50 clutch springs because I stripped a lot of those engines. So I'll need to order some of those. But yeah, no, it'll all come back to me. And whenever I think of stuff, I'll make notes. And then in a few years' time when I retire, I should have a pretty damn good idea what I need to do. It even had a little micro switch on it so that when it finished cutting, it turned off. I mean, the wiring was all exposed. You know, you could have got a 240 volt AC shock off it. But back then, you know, they didn't worry about that. It was a mechanical, it was a metal engineering course. It wasn't an electrical course, so they didn't mark me down for any of that, which was really nice. And they had a guy come up from London, to look at all the things that the students had made at the end of the year to inspect them all. And he saw the power hacksaw and he says, mate, I'm taking that back to show the board in London. So he loaded it into his car and he drove it all the way down from York to London to present it to the board with my drawings. And then he brought it back a few weeks later. I mean, what a bloke. I felt quite humbled, in fact. A lot of it I've made at home, actually. All the metal frame that held everything, which was some angle iron. I welded all out at home because I couldn't weld it at work. At school, because they didn't have. They only had brazing, and I wanted to. In fact, it would have been stick welded because I only had a stick welder then. So I'd have to get a stick welder and stick weld it. If I'm going to be true to the original, it needs to be stick welded. I haven't stick welded for years. That'd be fun. Where do we go with this? But she sent me a couple of pictures on Facebook. Hang on, we've got some photos to look at. Here we go. Boom, 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 boom. Here we go. Oh, look at these. No, wow, that's tiny. Okay, here we go. Some photos of Kevin's little engine that he's making, an inline 4-cylinder. Oh, look at that. That's a 2-cylinder. There you go. Little V engine that he's made. Beautiful. Wow. So that's what he's made before, the little V engine. And this is what he's making now, look. Very, very cool, Kevin. Thank you for that. It's really cool to have that kind of stuff on the... Oh, my word. So all those little holes, are they for all the little push rods and stuff? And oil drain holes and things? I'm only guessing, but probably. Very nice. Very nice indeed. Good job, matey. There's a big stack of drawings in the background. Yes. My eyesight's... Oh, we've got some more. Hang on. Bear with me. There we go, look. Look at that. It takes real dedication to make that kind of stuff, doesn't it? So that's the little engine block. Wow. Very nice. Yes. So you'll have by the looks of it, you'll have a little camshaft running down the side of there. And then you've got all these little holes here for the push rods, right? Very smart. Oh, it's a 5-cap crank as well. Nice and strong. I like it. One there, look, as well. Is that the sump? Looks like a sump. Yes, I think that's the bottom half. Bloody good. And the sump actually is the 2 end caps. Clever. Good job, mate. Really good job. Looking forward to watch some of your videos. See how you're getting on with it. Super. The pie has pinged. We'll give it one more minute. Don't forget to remind me. No wagon wheels, just sweets these days. Well, wagon wheels are the best, but they were pretty big. You know, as a kid, they were huge, and if you didn't catch it and it hit you, it did hurt because he used to fire them right up into the galleries. He was pretty good at there. RYJ MTech. Ever since COVID, vehicles are just garbage. I think Clarkson summed it up on their very last trip. They're just like a washing machine. You know, they're a disposable item now. Very, very different design brief to what vehicles were 30 years ago. You know, I mean, even Nissan have gone the same way with the patrols and things. You know, I've got the old Ben's got an old patrol here that's coil sprung. His is a 4.2 petrol. Mine's a 4.2 diesel. Mine's in retirement. It's too rusty. But back then, those vehicles were built to last. You know, they were tanks. The same with the old Land Rovers. The same with the old Land Cruisers. They were just built to last forever. Nowadays, vehicles, they're not built to last. They're built with a definitive point in time where they'll be unviable for to repair. You know, be it 7 or 8 years. EVs could even be less. It could be just when the batteries fail, it's just not worth fixing it. If they have a minor prang, they can't be fixed. There's loads of problems with modern vehicles now. But governments don't want old vehicles on the road, which is sad, really. So you're absolutely right. You really are. Simon, Machinist Kevin, have you made a pulse jet yet? Colin Furs has made some pulse jets. They are cool. Sound awesome. Crankshaft won't be an issue. Machinist Simon, no. I think a pulse jet will be too noisy in the shed for the neighbours. Oh, our next door neighbour that way moved out, and we've got people looking at the house at the moment. There was an open day yesterday and another one, I think, next Saturday. And Mrs. Mechanic's going, oh, God, is it going to be somebody that doesn't like noise? Because we're a little bit noisy, aren't we? I said, yes, we do make some noise on weekends. Pretty quiet during the week most of the time, but weekends, Trevor the Tractor thundering around and welding and grinding, and now that Ben comes down, we've got the air compressors and your sandblasting. Yeah, we get pretty noisy sometimes. They may not like that, but hey, live and let live, right? Hopefully they'll understand. When we get to Simon, gonna have to subscribe to you, Kevin. Yes, please do subscribe to Kevin's channel. RYJM Tech. Oh, don't even get me started on appliances. That's what cars are these days, though, isn't it? They're just like a kettle. When they break, you throw it out. Simon, Lamborghini Murcielago, can't pronounce it, on Wednesday had to put heat onto some bolts. God, I was crapping it. The price of the alloy wishbone if it had melted. That would have been on you. Ben actually, talking of that kind of stuff, Ben emailed me yesterday. Ben's my lad, right? Obviously. And he very much tries to replicate what I used to do, especially when I first came to New Zealand to make money. And, obviously his skill set's in the workshop, and he fixes a lot of things. And he's put out, I think it's on Facebook Marketplace. I think it could be on Trade Me, I'm not sure. That he's taking on welding jobs, so he can do some welding for people and earn some money. And he sent me this job that he'd been asked to quote for, and it was weird. It was like just think of a giant bookshelf, horizontal, so it's got like 8 or 10, 2 rows of 5, so 2 foot by 2 foot square pigeonholes, and the whole thing is just made out of 2mm plate, quite thin steel, mild steel, and the pigeonholes are about 1.5 foot deep by 2 foot by 2 foot. And this guy wanted it welded up. He says, oh, I'm going to get it all laser cut out and you just got to weld it up. And I said to Ben, it's not particularly rigid, in all honesty. There's no diagonal bracing, there's no box section, there's no framing to it. It's just flat plate. It's going to flippy flop around all over the place. And then you've got the problem of heat distortion. It's quite thin. And the guy was talking about full seam welds all over the place to make it strong. And I said to Ben, I said, you really don't want to get involved with that, son. That is just going to be a catastrophe just waiting to happen. And he'll hold you responsible for the failure at the end. So Ben came back and went, oh, no, thanks for the advice. I'll tell the guy, no, I'm not interested. So he really has to be very careful what jobs he takes on, to be fair. Plus, you know, something else Ben's got to think about is if he's doing electric welding, which he will be, he's plugged into my power supply. So guess who has to pay for all the electric? Yes. And he's got, I mean, he might be thinking about welding it gasless because he doesn't have any gas. Or he might want to borrow my MIG, which is fine. But again, he'll get through the gas. So Ben, he just needs to be fully aware of all the costs to do that welding. It's not just, oh, I've got a MIG, I'll just buy a bit of wire and away we go. It's not quite as simple as that. You've got to look at the whole package and make sure you're going to earn some decent money out of it. Because at the end of the day, you haven't just got your labor to charge for, you've also got all your materials as well. And that includes the electric. Right, let's go and get a pie. 3, 2, 1, boom. There we go. Back of the sandblasting cabinet. Oh, my leg's gone to sleep again. Holy crap. Going to getting old. Right, we'll get there. Wow. Okay. We made it. Leg's waking up. Oh, look at this. It's exploded. The top has pretty much separated at both sides. And we didn't put it on for too long. It was the right amount of time. Okay, here we go. Now, we don't know. For those that have just joined us, we have no idea what's in the pie. Look, big question mark. We don't know. It's just a pie. Or an pie, as Mr. Clarkson would say. Okay. Turn you around. 3, 2, 1. Boom. There we go. Get rid of the cigarettes. Don't need that anymore. Oh, pins and needles. On a live stream. God damn it. Kevin, haven't videoed the build of this engine. Just too busy as I do other projects for people in the shed. So fit the engine in between. I find that a lot. And just while I wait for the pie to cool down a little bit, because it is quite hot. Last weekend, pardon me, last weekend when Ben was down, we decided to do some filming. Now, the filming is very different to an Andy fixing something, how to diagnose or whatever video. It was more just little snippets of each other. I don't think Ben filmed anybody, but Mrs. Mechanic and I went around and we were filming bits that Ben was doing. He was working on his patrol. I was doing some work in the workshop. I was doing a new sheave holder for a 450 quad, which is now filmed, and I did lots of filming on that actually, so we're going to make that into a separate video, but that's now back in Auckland getting redrawn and a second prototype to be made or to cut so I can assemble and test that. Went very well. But anyway, so we were filming various bits and pieces over the weekend on what we were doing, little projects and bits and pieces. Mrs. Mechanic is busy editing that up. She's going to edit those videos, not me. So they're very different style of editing. I think over time, she'll get into a groove and it'll match a bit more the style that I use. I don't like still photos on my videos very often, unless it's just a small number. But I like to have a voiceover in the background when the photos are being displayed. I don't like it just be a quiet screen, so to speak. But, you know, I can't tell her too much what to do because it's what she's doing. Anyway, that video, hopefully, we were hoping to get out this weekend. It's not going to happen. Hopefully she'll get it finished next week. And we'll get that on the channel. And feedback, please. Once that video goes out, you're going to get to see an awful lot of stuff that you wouldn't normally see. There's going to be a little bit of blurring here and there because, again, it's a new thing that we're doing and we didn't brand proof some of the footage. So in the background, there are potentially vehicles and other things with a brand name on, which I can't show on the channel. So Mrs. Mechanic's going to have to come up with cunning ways to hide those from the video. But we still need to show the video, right? It's what we did. In the future, we'll be a lot better at not having those things in shot. So again, please forgive us for that. But those that understand, you know, right? You know why we have to do it. So yes, once that video goes out, please give me some feedback. It's something which I'd like to do more of, because like Kevin says, you know, we are busy. We only get limited time in the workshop, and sometimes, you know, we just need to crack on and get the job done. And a video filming it becomes, well, and if I film it, I'm not going to get it finished today, and it's time dependent jobs. So because filming takes a lot longer, about 3 times as long to make something if you're filming it, and then you've got all the editing to do. So, for example, those frames that I made for the ROVs, I was thinking, oh, maybe I should film that. But I'm not really sure how useful those frames would be to anybody else in the world, really. They're quite specific for me, and you need a tractor or a forklift or something to be able to move them around with it. So I thought, well, actually, no, I'm not going to bother filming it. So I just cracked on and made them, which was the important thing. So yeah, I mean, obviously you'll see the video when it goes out, hopefully at some point next week, maybe Friday, if you can have it all done when I get home Friday. I could upload Friday night, would be good. Have to wait and see. Should be good. You know, get to see all sorts of stuff. Trevor the tractor in action, me climbing around roofs, Ben welding things. I'm not going to give it all away. You'll have to watch. It's great. Now then, where do we get to? Happy 543210. Andy, please bring back the beautiful tool girls. I'd love to bring them back. I really, really would. We've talked about this many times recently. I don't know. I'm not going to rule it out, but I can't guarantee that they're going to come back or when they're going to come back. We'll just have to wait and see. You know, we will. What would be a real bonus is if I could find somebody more local, because the logistics is one of the biggest problems. In all honesty, all the tool girls previously used to live in Auckland. I don't live in Auckland anymore. I live down near Taupo. Oh, incidentally, Taupo, if you look on the news, just Google Taupo flooding. They had a massive thunderstorm yesterday, I think it was, or Friday afternoon. Absolute monster thunderstorm, and huge amounts of flooding in Taupo. Somebody on one of the posts mentioned that Lake Taupo just got a bit bigger. The main road that runs round the lake was totally flooded out. You couldn't see the road, and the water was 2 or 3 feet up the trees. So tremendous amount of flooding. Nothing we've ever seen in Taupo before. So most bizarre. And that flooding, that weather front covered quite a chunk of the central North Island. Here, we didn't get any. It was blazing hot sunshine. So we must have just missed it, but you could see some pretty angry clouds in the distance. So, yeah. My picture's gone really grainy. Has your picture gone really grainy? Maybe it didn't like going to the pie machine. So, tool girls, can't guarantee anything. There are about 120 videos on the channel with tool girls in, so there's plenty to go at, to be fair. But it would be nice to get them back. It would. Simon, put Can-Am logos over the... I did mention that to Mrs. Smith. In fact, I said to her, whenever you need to blank something out, rather than use just the fuzzy thing that you use, just use a different brand. Just put on there KTM. I'll just use a different brand every time. KTM, Kawasaki, whatever it is, you know. But no, the whole vehicle has to be hidden. It's not just the name. I just don't want to fall foul of what I've been told. I have to agree to, because it just causes problems. And I like my job. I really do. Anyway, so moving on. This is the pie. We're going to crack on because we'll be going an hour and 15 minutes. Jeez. Okay, look at that. So obviously puff pastry on the top. I don't know the content. This is a mystery pie that Mrs. Mechanic bought me. She'll probably be laughing her head off in a minute because she probably knows it's one that I absolutely hate. We will see. Okay, we're going in. It still feels quite hot, so this could be a problem. It better not be fish. No. I don't mind fish and chips, but put fish in a pie and you can walk off a plank. No way, Jose. I could be wrong. We'll keep going. The worst thing is I'm hungry. Man, that tastes like fish. Anybody else out there actually likes fish pies? Because you can have this one. I am pretty sure that's fish. Pretty sure. Oh, God. So my incoming video is really grainy at the moment. Is it grainy at your end? Bum, 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 bum. Oh, go on, change the calendar. Looks like chicken. It sure as hell isn't chicken. It's not chicken. I know what chicken tastes like. I'm going to go and get the calendar. We need to see what Miss February is like. Hang on a minute. Okay, here we go. Miss January. I don't want to give away any other ones. There you go. Miss February. Cheers, Jared. Very nice. That will brighten up the workshop for the next month. Good job. I'll hang it back up later. We'll stick her up there for now. Very good. Yeah, I am absolutely sure, now that my mouth has sort of cleared off a little bit, I am pretty sure that Mrs. Mechanic has played a prank on me. She knows, she absolutely knows that I don't like fish pies. I would never go. It's probably something like a fish chowder pie. And I honestly, you couldn't pay me to eat one of these. You know, well, you could if it was like a lot of money, but a little bit of money? No. I mean, if it was free, I still wouldn't eat it. I mean, oh no. I mean, what is that? What is it? I'm not eating that. That's disgusting. Skin. Ugh. She's in so much trouble. Today wasn't going to be a good day anyway. I've got to do undersealing, and now I've got to eat this as well. Ugh. Some things you just don't like, right? You know to stay away from it. Okay. Taste, stroke, flavor, and this is me marking this pie, so I can mark it on what I think the flavor is. All right. I'm pretty sure it's a fish pie. We're going to mark it based on it being a fish pie. So the flavor of the contents, not the pastry. It's horrible. 1. It's getting a 1. There's no way I'm giving that any marks. I'm not going to give it a 0 because it has got flavor, and somebody will go, you can't do that, Andy. You've got to give it something. But it's nasty. It's just nasty. I'm sorry. It really is. Now, the next one is Structure Folly Partners. Now, the lid wasn't great. We know that. It's hanging in there, though. We're about a third the way through. As you can see, I'm working around the outside because there's more pastry content and less fish content. Oh, no. Look at that. Why? Why would you get me a fish pie? Looks like a chicken. It's not. Yes, it's grainy. Oh, sorry, mate. Hopefully it'll recover in a minute. Simon, only one type of fish pie should be eaten, and it's not from the sea. YouTube might ban this one. Funny. John Nuttall, hit the like button, lads. You better hit the like button today after I'm doing this for you. This is horrible. Connor K, no fish for me. Too many years at sea pulling fish, sometimes still living out of the engine room. Sea strainers. Oh, God. Oh, bloody hell. It's just nasty. I mean, fish is bad enough, right? Oh, God. It's black. Look at that. That's disgusting. I'm not eating that. Ugh. No way, Jose. You know, fish is bad enough as it is, but you know when they're making a pie with fish, the fish that they put in the pie, you know, often the meat's not the best in any pie, whether it's a mince pie or whatever. It's usually pretty cheap stuff for most pies. So where did they get this fish from? Was it like the stuff that they didn't sell for a few days? No, she's in trouble when I see her. Oh. Impartial scoring, I hope. What it is, I'm trying to, I mean, the scoring is my opinion of this pie. I mean, I'm sure that, I mean, some people out there must actually find this nice. But I mean, why would you? You'd just have a nice steak and cheese pie. Totally the opposite of this. You know, every bite being a pleasure. This is every bite is a fucking is a nightmare. Right. Simon, I hope there's a bacon sandwich for you after the live stream. Bloody better be. I tell you, this is rank. Absolutely nasty. Ron Jones just finished watching round 3 of the New Zealand Nationals disc golf tournament, whatever that is. That's been going on at the weekend. Disc golf. What the hell's disc golf? Very good run. Kevin, off now, Andy. Do some shed stuff before it gets too hot. It does. It's been really hot recently. But saying that, the new roof, I mean, it's still warm in here on a really hot day, but it's not stifling hot like it used to be, where you just give up. It was just too hot in here. But now, it's sort of tolerable. You know, we've got a little fan over there that we flick on when we're not filming. It gets, oh God, that was a burp. Remember that? It gets a bit of airflow. It sort of works. It sort of works. I'm happy with it. Right. Oh, another burp. Structure Foley partners. I don't know. 8. Not too bad. Runability test. Let's get this over and done with. 40. Hopefully the entire contents will fall out on the floor. 45 degrees, 30 seconds. Nothing's moving. It's going to pass, isn't it? Bloody thing. Please fall out. Go on. Land on the floor. No, it passed that one. So he gets 10 for that. Jeez. Meat quality. Well, I don't know about that. But that, to me, you don't get that when you get fish and chips. That's just nasty. That is. That's horrible. 3. I've had much nicer tasting fish than the fish and chips. I'll tell you that. I'm avoiding that bit of fish. Contents to, and one more thing. You've always got the risk of getting a fish burn as well. And when I was a kid, I went to Scarborough. This is when we lived near York. My Uncle Ted passed away now. Sorry, Ted. Miss you, mate. So Uncle Ted and Auntie John took me to Scarborough. Sure it was Scarborough. It was Scarborough. And we went up one of the little back lanes just off the seafront to a little fish and chip restaurant on the corner, maybe 50 metres from the main road at the bottom, the waterfront road. And we all had fish and chips for tea, which was really nice. It was nice and set me out and really, really nice. And I started eating my fish because I like fish and chips. And I found that there was loads of bones in the fish, which I didn't like. And I got a bone stuck in my cheek, which really put me off. So I didn't eat any more of the fish. I just ate the chips after that. But yeah, it wasn't good. So I never liked fish with bones in. There, look, big chunk of fish sticking out. And you don't know how long this has been sat in that hot box at the petrol station. Who knows? All right, pie to crust. There's actually quite a lot of filling on this thing, so it does pretty well. I'm going to give it. Oh God, give it a 7. Availability logistics. Obviously, availability is way higher than it ever should be for one of these horrible pies. Bake Shack pies in general. Petrol stations, usually the gas petrol stations, usually supermarkets, so you can get them online. It's going to score high, isn't it? Online, you're going to get an 8. God damn it. Pastry taste rating. It's going to be fishy. It's going to smells of fish. It's going to taste of bloody fish, this pastry. Oh, man. It's just standard Bake Shack pastry. It's nothing special. Give it a 5. Pretty average. Okay, still tasty when cold. Absolutely disgusting. I was going to put an F word before that if this pie was cold. There's no way I'd ever eat it. 0. It's getting a 0 for that. No way would you ever eat. I couldn't imagine you ever eating a fish pie cold. Sorry, I just couldn't. Packaging design. Well, all I can say, I know it's Bake Shack. I would say, what do we give them about a 5. The print rubs off. It's pretty basic. A child could do it with Photoshop. Oh, another burp. That's 3 burps so far. Recyclable score. It is recyclable. Oh, I'm sorry. The fish fell off. What the hell? God damn it. So it is recyclable, so it gets a 10 for that. Jesus God, it's going to score high, isn't it? Post pie heartburn, 3 burps so far, so it's down to 7 for that. Stuffability score. I don't think I'll be stuffed. I'll just feel awful afterwards, and it's going to put me off any other food for quite some time. Maybe that's Mrs. Mechanic's ploy to give me stuff that I don't like, so I'll stop eating things. All right, it's cooling down. That is rank. So, feeling full, but for all the wrong reasons, right? I will not want to eat anything else after this. I don't know. 9. I'm losing interest in this pie already. Pie server attractiveness. Now then, it wasn't the normal lady at the petrol station. It was the reserve lady at the petrol station. I think she gets about a 4 from memory. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All the scores are in. I've got a big chunk of fish stuff, whatever it is, to eat. Oh, man. All right. One of my Makita batteries, luckily it's only a 3 amp hour, I know it's all backwards, isn't it? Has failed. 3 amp hour battery. And this is what it should. The charge went ballistic yesterday. All the alarms went off and stuff. And on the battery, if I press the button, we get this weird, you know, like kit, Knight Rider's kit sort of thing going on the front of there, telling me that it do not use. It is stuffed. It is broken. It could spontaneously combust at any second. So, yeah, I lost a battery. Right, one more bite, and then it's pretty much pastry. Oh, oh man. Okay, Andy, did you forget Mrs. Mechanic's birthday? No, her birthday's later in the year. That's about as accurate as I can get. It's not now. It's in a few months. Might as well have, though. God damn it, disgusting. Ron Jones, Frisbee. I'd love to have fired this across the garden. Let the dicky birds have it. John Nuttall, don't finish the pie, you've work to do. I genuinely feel really just repulsed by this. Simon, found something really good for getting those brass parts in carbs back to clean brass. Ammoniated clock cleaning solution. Soak overnight. The bits look brand new. How did he find that? How would you even know to go and get that stuff? I can't even pronounce it. Good job, though. Looks nice. That's what we need. Because, yeah, they're right. They do tarnish quite a bit, don't they? What that going to be like in a glove box in a few... Oh, man. Could you imagine if you left that, especially this in the peak of summer as well, it would absolutely stink to high heaven. That's it. All right, so we need to... Bear with me, I'm just getting all the bits of fish off the cover. So, Mrs. Mechanic covered the whole front up. I don't know how successful we're going to be at getting this off. We'll find out what it is, and then we'll add up the scores. Oh, it's not a bake shack. It's even worse. It's a Makatu Pie's smoked fish pie. No, Mrs. Mechanic, no. I never ever want to be presented with one of anything like this ever. Anything with a fishy content. Not interested. That was horrendous. I genuinely feel nasty at the moment. Really nasty. Oh, God. Right, so I'm just going to write this on here because I've been... oh, God, another burp. So it's lost another point. So... oh, another one. Post pie heartburn. Where is it? There we are. Oh, so it's down to 5. Holy crap. I feel ill. So it's a Makatu. Pies. Bear with me. Smoked fish. Okay, we need to add the scores up. I hadn't forgotten about you. Unless you absolutely like fish, do not buy this. I do not recommend it. Not a sponsor, never will be. That was just wrong. So wrong. Right, turn around, 3, 2, 1, boom. Okay, we're going down. There we go. Oh, Right. 19, 22, 29, 37, 42, 47, 57, 63, 72, 76. Hopefully you concur. 76. Now, I've not got any magnetic things yet, but let's go and see where that would end up on the board. 76. Let's see what other pies are just as bad. God, that was foul. Absolutely disgusting. She'd be laughing her head off. What a trick to play on somebody, honestly. 76, so it's obviously on the back wall. So, oh my word, Irvin's The Beast Steak and Cheese only got 76. That must be a really... In fact, let me open the garage door. Hang on. Let's get some light on the job. Oh, I'll have to be careful now, won't I? Right. Irvin's 76. Steak and cheese. Dad's pies. Mince. So I can't believe that I actually scored the mince and cheese and just any old steak and cheese equal score. It just goes to show how much other stuff carries the weight of the scores, doesn't it? Oh my God. Okay, morning Lily. Hope you're all good, lass. Right, going down. There we go. Right, back to the bench. I need a I think I've earned a cigarette. I don't care. I'm gonna have a cigarette. God damn it. Oh, I feel horrible. Fish, bits of fish everywhere. That's just nasty. Nasty. I know you say, man up, Andy. Just get on with it. At least you've had some breakfast. Some people would give the right arm for that food. Well, they would. And if they were here, I'd have given it to them. Simple as that. I've got a bench to clean. I've got bits of pie, bits of fish smeared across my workbench. It's not very... Jesus. Down a hole. It's just not very nice. Not very nice at all. What a trick. I need to come up with a rebuttal for Mrs. Mechanic. What could I do? What does she detest? I don't know. I have to think. Purple Monkey 1974. Need a coffee for mouthwash. Now, I've only got a little bit of coffee left. Probably one mouthful. Connor K. The battery was replaced. Tesla stand clear warning. Oh, the battery has reached Tesla stand clear warning. I know. It's not often I have failed batteries, but that is definitely not a happy battery. And I'm not going to bother pulling it apart and trying to work out which cells failed and replace the cell. I've got quite a few batteries now, and only a 3 amp hour. It must be one of the older ones because I tend to buy the 5 or 6 amp hour batteries now. So that one must be, it must be at least 6 years old. It must be. So it's done its time. I'm not going to worry about it. Golly. Simon, think we should give Andy a round of applause for finishing the pie. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I do feel that I deserve it as well, Simon. It was just nasty. You know, some things, we're all the same. If there's food out there that you don't like, you don't eat it, right? You always choose food that at least is okay. You know, I mean, obviously some people choose food that's good for them or thought to be good for them rather than food that they think is bad for them. But I mean, that I've got such mixed conflicts. You know, my brain's going, you like pies, Andy? Obviously, you know. But not that one. That was just disgusting. It really was. It should never exist. Purple Monkey, like as in ammonia. Oh, ammonia. Right. Ammoniized clock cleaning solution. Right. I've got you. Ammoniated. It's quite a word, isn't it? Ammoniated. So yes, it stinks of ammonia. There you go. Oh God, you'd have to wear a mask, wouldn't you? Simon, I can't take credit for the clock cleaner. I'm a member of a bike Discord with some really good minds. Seen it mentioned and ordered some to try. It works a treat. I will remember that. Good idea. Because I've probably got a few carbs to clean up, to be fair. We've got 3 quad bikes that haven't been run for 6, 7 years, maybe longer. John Nuttall, Simon set up a GoFund for his toilet paper and days off work. Yes. Yeah, it could all end really badly later on. You know, I might have to abort undersealing halfway through and just disappear for half an hour. Who knows? Ah, dear, dear, oh dear. Right. Okay, so we've done a pie. I don't think we'll ever get a pie. I mean, I'm going to be in charge of buying pies from now on. That's just not on. You know, you give someone an inch and they take a mile. That's abuse of trust right there. It's just not on. It's going to take me a while to be able to look Mrs. Mechanic in the eye now and just forgive her for what she's done. And the worst thing is, she probably would have eaten that and thought, that wasn't a bad pie. Well, you're welcome to it, honey. Different tastes. Maybe I should buy one of those just to get the packaging, or save that. Oh no, I've torn that one up. Just to get the packaging and then put a steak and cheese pie in it. Or some, not bacon because she likes bacon, but some bizarre meat. Rabbit pie. She likes rabbits. She does not eat rabbit meat. That would be a really good get. Yes. I need to find a rabbit pie. I wonder if Lakeland Farms do rabbit pies. I'll have to find out. Just give it to her in a plain bag. That would work. Oh, I feel decidedly weird now. Simon, be the bigger person and don't go like for like. Oh, it's going to be hard to hold back, Simon. We were in Spain years and years ago when I was working for Mercedes, living with the James family. James was the father and his son was Junior James. And we were also, Emma had come across for the week to join me because she was missing me, you know, and I was missing her as well. So she flew out to surprise me, and we all sat round, and Mrs. James had cooked this lovely meal, and it was already broken down into just bits of meat. So, you know, we all get served up, and we're all sat there, have a little drink, a bit of wine and stuff, and we start to tuck in, and Emma goes, "Oh, this is quite nice." She's going to hate me now for this. This is quite nice. And Junior James, other side of the table, who could speak a little bit of English, and she goes, "Oh, what is it? Chicken?" And Junior James goes, and he goes, and I was looking at Emma, and her face just dropped, and she went, "Rabbit?" And he went, "Rabbit, rabbit," you know, and she swallowed what she had in her mouth because she was polite, but she refused to eat any more. Said, "I don't eat rabbits." She'd had pet rabbits from a very young age. She loves little rabbits, but the thought of her eating a rabbit just completely turned her off the food. There was no way she was going to eat any more. It was classic, a classic move. I didn't know it was rabbit. It tasted a bit like chicken to me. So, you know, she got big time. Connor K, drink some ginger ale. It might help your stomach after that pie. Thank you. I need to drink something. Right, the last of the coffee's going down. Oh, there's going to be little bits of fish coming out all day long from between my teeth. Oh, it's just nasty. So, crew, thank you for joining. I've got next week, you know, the week after, I am going down to near New Plymouth. the following week. Yes, so Nelson this week, fly out Wednesday, get back Friday to Auckland, and then drive home Friday afternoon. And the following week, I drive down, I think, on the Wednesday to almost to New Plymouth through Taranui to get there, and then come home on the Friday. So traveling again, just not too far. It's about 4.5 hours drive time to get there. So, and it's quite a pleasant countryside. But the desert road is closed. Not that we'll go that way anyway, actually, for that particular journey, but we have to go that way for the wood. So going for the wood on Saturday is going to be a bit of a palaver. It's a long way around. So it'll take us a bit. We'll have to set off really early in the morning because they close at noon. So I've got to get there about 11 to load up. And that's the wood for the side port, for the battens. We've also got some timber coming to do a retaining wall at the back of the side port. And then I'll be building another shed to mirror Ben's workshop, which is going to house the air compressors and the sandblasting cabinet. So we'll have a dedicated room for sandblasting. Bloody awesome. And the air compressors. So that hopefully will be finished before the end of the year. That's the plan. And Mrs. Mechanic's deck for the house port. She said, I want that for Christmas. So I've got to do that for Christmas as well. So I know it's a long way off, but when you've only got weekends and not all weekends, it's actually, I've got to start planning it now. Okay, crew, thank you all for joining me on this weird live stream. Second attempt worked. Really appreciate your attendance and your support in getting through that pie. It was not fun at all. I would strongly recommend, if you're not a massive fan of fish, do not, under any circumstances, go anywhere near a fish pie, irrespective of brand. It's not for me. I know some people must like them, but no. Steak and cheese all day long. All right, crew, I will see you next time. Thanks for joining. Cheers. Over and out.